Okay, now we are good. Okay, so we are going to be talking about intimacy from a deeper level. And we've all attended probably intimacy classes before, but as you're going to notice, you're going to gain a lot from this. So let's get right into it. So hold on, my gosh, I need to get you guys out of here because I can't see much. Having difficulties here. So self-love, it all starts here when it comes to the intimacy portion. If you could all just mute yourselves really quickly. I hear some background music and I'm someone who gets distracted easy. Okay. So when it comes to intimacy, we have to be looking inward and in order for us to be giving outward. So what is real self-love? It's more than just getting your nails and hair done or a nice, relaxing bubble bath. It means accepting your emotions for what they are and putting your physical, emotional, and mental well-being first. Self-love motivates you to make healthy choices in life. When you hold yourself in high esteem, you're more likely to choose things that nurture your well-being and serve you well. The side effects of not loving yourself: when you put yourself last or fail to love yourself, you will notice increased stress, anxiety, and reactivity to the little things that you may have ignored beforehand. Things will feel more difficult, overwhelming, and lead to you feeling depleted and overall more unhappy. And I think that as women, we can all resonate with this. Especially within these, as we know, this last year's been really tough, right? I just noticed, I jumped on here frantically trying to corral my child out of the room, that I forgot to introduce myself. I am Carrie Ruff. I've been a wellness advocate for doTERRA for 4 years. Um, doTERRA has not only provided me the traditional life change with the products and the wonderful community atmosphere, the ability to have time and financial freedom, of course, depending on the work that you want to put in, but it has touched my life in such a deep level on a spiritual and emotional journey that I am 110% confident in saying that no other company, and honestly, I'm not sure as any other thing would have been able to offer this in my lifetime for me. Um, Back about a few years ago, I had lost my father, and I suffered trauma, PTSD because of that. I was at his bedside when he had passed. A week later, I had delivered my child. So being 9 months pregnant while I held my father's hand, as you can imagine, not only did I suffer trauma, but I was suffering postpartum depression. I mean, as we know, postpartum depression is a real thing and it's a very serious thing. We even have to sign waivers before leaving the hospital because of it. And in the last few years, it's been a hard road. It's been a lot of ups and downs. Even before that journey, most of my life, I have suffered ups and downs with anxiety and depression, lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem. And in it, I've made a lot of choices and done things a lot differently in my life had I had the self-worth and self-love for myself. So we're going to get into that, and you're going to see why that's so important and why that makes sense, and how it really shifts our journey as human beings and especially as women because of our revolving emotional door that we've been blessed with. So we'll also get into that. And I can't see the chat, guys, actually. So what I'm going to do, because I am sharing my screen, is if any of my girls want to maybe pop in there and answer questions, that they can. Otherwise, what I will do is I'll wait to the end and ask questions. So I'm sorry about that part of that. Okay. So 5 critical reasons self-love is necessary for happiness. And I want to notate that we will be getting into the fun, juicy stuff, but we've really got to reflect on the self-love to start with. Oh, whoa. Where are we here? We're not on number 4 yet. Here we go. Number 1, to liberate yourself from comparisons. This is huge. We are doing this so much, especially because the convenience of social media, right? And everyone's living a wonderful life on social media, but we all know that is not true behind closed doors. In which I will add that's not always a bad thing, because it is good to not always air that drama on social media, right? However, when we compare ourselves to others, it is a total setup for failure. Why? People who truly love themselves realize that comparison doesn't feel good ever. Under any circumstance, ever does it ever feel good. And I have a picture here. I thought it was really appropriate of 2 girls kind of measuring themselves, because as we know, back in childhood, it's like if you're not taller than your friend, you automatically you're like, oh man, I'm the short one. When really that's no big deal, but we've been generated since childhood to compare ourselves to others. Number 2, to live life in alignment of your values. What are your values? Are they family, friends, success, kindness? Are you living in alignment with your values? If you are not practicing self-love, it is highly probable that one or more areas of these categories are slipping. For instance, your family value may not be aligned in the life that you're living because you lack self-love. I've been there, I've done this. You may notice that you have a hard time being present with your family. You are missing special moments, or you just don't have the energy for them. You are running on empty, and everyone is getting your love except you. And I'm going to touch base with this quick. When I was really, really suffering from the trauma and the PTSD, I mean, you guys know that having a newborn baby, you don't sleep. On top of that, anytime I was falling asleep, I'd automatically wake up with reruns of, being at my father's bedside when he passed. So for months, a year or two, easily, I did not get any sleep. And that was affecting every part of me. But not only the type of person I am, but we all oftentimes, when we are going through those hardships, definitely with me, maybe you can relate or not, but I buried my emotions with my work, I just didn't want to feel them. And with that being said, my self-love trickled away. I wasn't doing things to take care of myself, because when I would try to take a relaxing bath, my mind started racing, or this or that. And my essential oil and supplementation routine fell off because I wasn't taking care of myself. And with that being said, as I was putting I was putting other things first before myself, because I just didn't want to feel those feelings. It always results in burnout. So please never do that, because it is way worse later on than just riding those emotions at that time. Number 3, confidence. Self-love enhances confidence in yourself because you allow yourself to accept you just as you are. You aren't so hung up on your flaws. It's acknowledging being human and forgiving yourself. You trust yourself and behave as such, and you never judge or criticize yourself, or very rarely. When you allow yourself to embrace all that you are, you will notice you won't feel shame or insecurity for not being something else. And I don't want you guys running super frantically and writing a ton of stuff. Just kind of make bullet points, because like I said, I will provide resources, and the extent of that will kind of be depending on what you guys take away from the class and what you want to move forward with. Number 4, resilience through challenges. It's normal to struggle. When we face hard times, we grow. We realize our own strength, and we learn to see challenges as lessons or lily pads to jump to the next level of life. Personally, through the hardest and most challenging times in my own life, I learned to value myself, set boundaries with others, and yes, absolutely love myself. Number 5, maintain healthy relationships. Whether it's friends, family, or a romantic relationship, self-love enhances these relationships. We can't give out if we're not receiving, love from the inside. In essence, we teach others how to treat us. This is huge, guys. If we don't have self-love or self-respect, we may notice others feel they have the green light to disrespect us too. Through self-love, you set the standard of how you will accept being treated in any relationship. Sometimes we are treated poorly, or when we are treated poorly, we must examine our own self-love. How strong are you setting boundaries with others? How are you a people pleaser? I have struggled with this more specifically in these last few years of my life because I wasn't giving myself love, and I was just so my mind was just in so many other places. I was not setting boundaries, and with that, it really what that results is I would get so fed up, and all of these emotions would just bottle up, and then all of a sudden I would burst out. And oftentimes you end up bursting at a, I don't want to say an inappropriate time, because when you burst out, it's really never an, I mean, it could be maybe not as, I guess, ethical from a standpoint, but when those emotions need to come out, they need to come out, right? So it would be in a time that might not have been relevant to someone else. Like if someone else was looking at, wow, why'd she just freak out over that? Little do they know those emotions that were just really bottled up for so long finally came out, just because it wasn't revolving around that specific current situation. They had been bottled up for so long and they just finally came out. So setting boundaries from the get-go really helps lessen those emotions from bottling up. Now we are going to get into a little bit more of the spirituality side of where I wanted to focus on today. Regardless of what your spirituality may look for you, whether religion or which your belief system, what we're going to discuss is in general, and it can fall into the plane of really anything of any belief systems. Truthfully, before my father had passed away, it's not that I didn't believe in anything. It's just I am someone who I need to see and hear it for myself to believe. Like if you come to me with drama or rumors, I'm not someone who's going to judge that person, because if I didn't see it or hear it, to me, it's non-existent. So with that being said, it's not that I didn't want to believe in a God or a higher power. It's just I didn't know what to expect. Since my father passed, things have changed greatly for me. In the last year, specifically last summer, I experienced life-changing things, and I have a whole brand new perspective. So with that said, this is where I had gained this knowledge and this interest of seeking this knowledge and this education. My mouth is so dry. Okay. The divine feminine. So each person, even men, and women, we each have a divine feminine and a divine masculine. It is made up of yin and yang, commonly referred to. We'll get a little bit more into all of that, but it's the right and left sides of our body. And when they are in balance and joined together, that's when we as humans experience the most harmony in life. So the divine feminine is a form of energy that all beings possess. It is known by many names such as Shak, excuse me, Shakti, yin, and lunar energy. It is often connected symbolically with the moon, Gaia, Mother Earth, and water. Just like the divine masculine, it is one half of the spirit of life. Both divine feminine and divine masculine arise mutually, and in their most natural state work together effortlessly and harmoniously. Out of the shadows and into the light. The shadows. The divine feminine is an energy that we all possess no matter where we are in the gender spectrum. As our planet is cast into the horrors of environmental destruction and demise, it is clear that there is an excess of masculine energy, and that is what we are all seeing now. For those of you who are already into this realm of spirituality, this is what we commonly refer to as the Great Awakening. So everything that has been happening with COVID and all of the things, those who are into light working or Buddhism, anything spirituality. So let me just really, really quick explain this. When you focus on a specific religion, it's like you're a fish in a fishbowl. And I don't mean that in a degrading way by any means, but this is just using as an example. When you believe more in the realm of spirituality, you can take bits and pieces from any type of like belief system that you want and create your own thing with it. Spirituality is a fish living in an ocean. So those who are into spirituality, they practice yoga, meditation, Reiki, they're into crystals, essential oils, all of these things. And even if you're not there yet, you may potentially be there. So I just wanted to touch base on that. But yes, this has been called the Great Awakening. We've had these in humanity before, and now we are shifting into a new Great Awakening. So as I explain, this will make a lot of sense to you. So out of the shadows into the light. Now the light, as a force that is responsible for organizing, ruling, fighting, building, and dominating, masculine energy is certainly useful, but only up until a certain point. It is now time for the rise of the divine feminine, but not just in females, although women certainly have an easier time accessing it, but in all beings. For our society and for this very planet to survive, we desperately need to cultivate the feminine energies within us. So the feminine energies is more based on being present, love, compassion, nurturing, basically what is generated around a female. And the masculine is more of like the wake up, the hard work, go, 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 which is a society. That's what we're seeing now. And we're getting out of the divine feminine of being present in the moment, nurturing, loving ourselves, loving others. And that's why there is so much hate and darkness that we've been seeing. Awakening the divine feminine. This segment is where we're going to get into me. I'm just really going to be quickly reading this. You can screenshot if you want, or again, I will be providing resources. The benefits, again, regardless of gender, the benefits of awakening the divine feminine is enhanced intuition or higher perception, sharpened gut instincts, animal perception. So now we're starting to see that as humans, we're out of touch of our animal instincts, right? More flexibility and spontaneity, greater self-compassion, increased love and acceptance of others, connection to the creator within, more ability to enjoy the small things in life, greater receptivity to others, yourself, and life, increased ability to let go, deeper comfort with the unknown and reduced anxiety, heightened connection with your body and sensuality, enhanced ability to relax, receive, and be. So I can guarantee you that the majority of those on this call have been feeling not just one, but many, many of these, right? 9 ways to awaken the divine feminine within you. Guys, I just can't talk enough about these things, and I can't dig deep into these right now. So I'm really just going to list these. Connecting with your inner divine mother, examine your wounds surrounding femininity, tuning into your emotions, cultivate your intuition, find a feminine teacher, guide, or figure that you admire. Slow down and be present. We will be talking more about that. Practice self-love and inner child work. There's a ton of meditations on YouTube revolving around inner child work. So what we're talking about that, and I got to touch base on this a little bit, so important. Our inner child is where we used to be as children before fears, anger, stress, responsibility, before all of these things became instilled in our brains. When we were born, we didn't feel any of those things, right? Those things came with experience. Our dog passed away when we were a kid, so we experienced grief or sadness or even anger, so on and so forth. But when we were young, we would just wake up and just live life so free without a care in the world, right? And we were creative. Everybody could paint and draw and color and dream of what they wanted to do and be when they grew up, right? We were all dreamers. We were all believers. We were all happy. This is what the inner child is, and it absolutely is accessible and possible even in our later years. It requires a lot of work. I am just letting you know that you cannot wake up tomorrow and access your inner child and just shed all of these years of horrific events off of you, just so you do know. Anything in life requires a lot of hard work. Connecting more deeply with your body, honoring, protecting, and celebrating Mother Earth. We as humans, I will touch base on this a little bit later too. We are so disconnected from Mother Earth and Mother Nature. Mother Nature be our home and is no longer is. Most of us respectively do not honor that. I just heard a different noise. Maybe that was a chat or something. I just want to make sure nothing crazy is going on. You're all still there and we are still sharing and recording, I believe, right? Okay. The goddess herself, excuse me. Have you ever heard of people being affected during a full moon? Anyone who works in healthcare, or maybe you're a teacher, or you work in a school, or maybe none of that, and you just heard of that. It has been a theory for many, many, many times that people are affected during the full moon. Why? Because it's true. Solar versus lunar cycles. So this is where we're going with the divine masculine and feminine here. Men function on a 24-hour cycle where it's groundhog every day for their hormones every single day. They can get up in 2 seconds. We all know everything's so much easier for them from an emotional, hormonal, and physical standpoint. This corresponds to the lunar cycle. The sun rises and sets, you wake up and you go to sleep, repeat every day forever. Women, or menstruators, function on a 28-day cycle, roughly, which corresponds to the lunar cycle. This means that your hormones fluctuate over the course of 4 weeks rather than 24 hours. Just like the moon affects the tide in the ocean, it most certainly affects our energy and our emotions. I just want to touch base. There's a lot of things that you can research on this. But the menstruation, I will actually, let me start with saying that many of you know or may know that my family lived off of the grid this past summer. We obviously had somewhere where we slept. We slept in a building, but we were outside sun up to sundown. We didn't even watch a clock. Our clock was determined by what was going on the time of the day with the sun. Honestly, we very rarely picked up our phones. Many of you know who are in my community, I was kind of just MIA. Even my friends know I was really MIA this summer. We were just very in tune with the earth. It ended up creating a lot of purging of emotions, which that's a whole different subject. But within literally the first few weeks of us moving into nature, so to speak, my menstrual cycle shifted by 2 weeks. I kid you not. I started menstruating exactly on the full moon for 3 months straight. Every single time, the day of the full moon, my menstrual cycle started. When we moved off of when we moved into our winter home where we are now, my menstrual cycle shifted back again by 2 weeks. And now I'm back on the same menstrual cycle that I was before we were connecting with nature every day. We were walking barefoot. Our feet were in the grass. Our feet were on rocks. I would sit on rocks and meditate. We were very, very, very grounded and connected with the earth, and therefore connected with everything else. So I just really wanted to share that piece with you. If you do some research, it was a very beautiful thing back when women would menstruate before it became this patriarchal thing that we'll get into in a moment. It was a beautiful thing when women would menstruate. They would actually be in tune with the full moon before houses and all these things were, built, or modern society kind of came about. Women would all get together and menstruate together on the full moon, and it was viewed as a beautiful thing, not only with women but also men, because it was more of like we were goddesses. We had the ability to detoxify emotionally and physically our bodies every single month. That's not something that men can do. So it was viewed as a very beautiful thing. Now in modern society, it's like, oh, I've got my period. I need to go to the store and get my tampons. Where's my pads? I can't have sex. No, 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 no. It's can't wear a white dress, right? It's viewed as a very inconvenient thing when in reality it should be viewed as very beautiful. So with that being said, I know I trailed off here. You can, those that can see the presentation, you can see that I will talk and just briefly, the menstrual cycle has 4 stages. The full moon commonly has the 4 stages, and they can sync with that. So even if you're not in sync with the full moon and the new moon, depending on what stage you are in your menstrual cycle, you can tap into that what would be equivalent to the moon cycle, even if the moon isn't in that exact cycle, and you can tune into that. I have a lot of resources that I go by every single day. I have a moon cycle journal, and I am able to tap into that to be able to make my from an emotional and even a physical standpoint, make my the changes of my menstrual cycle flowing much better than they were beforehand with that. Fitting into a patriarchal box. Society is designed for men's cycles, so you may never have realized that there are any phases to attend to. It is not just a few days of bleeding, and that's all there is to it. There are follicular, ovulatory, and luteal phases to think about before the tampons come out. These phases all have different energies and needs too, just like the moon. So what ends up happening, we bend and try to fit ourselves into the patriarchal expectations of productivity and deplete our energy in the process. While men can function the same way day in and day out, lunar cycles have longer periods of hormonal fluctuations that influence everything from your energy to your work productivity, creativity, metabolism, immune health, and more. If your periods are irregular, if you're having difficult PMS symptoms, or if you've been diagnosed with hormone imbalance, even if you just want a deeper connection to yourself, paying attention to which phase of your cycle you are in can help you get that balance. Me specifically, I have gone through our family planner. We combine that, so Brooks and I are on the same page with my doTERRA and just our future family projects. And I have put in when the full moon and when the new moon is on every single month, so that we know during those days, like I'm not focusing much at all on my doTERRA. I'm going to be doing a lot of meditating, journaling, brain dumping. I burn what I journal, and I do rituals and things like that. No, I'm not a witch, or maybe I am, but anyway, I have been able to create a lot of manifestation and process a lot of my emotions with that. I just wanted to put that out there. Like I said, it's really hard to put all of this together. So now we're going to master intimacy. So now that we've talked about the emotional part, the self-love, the divine feminine, now we're going to get into a bit more of the juicier stuff. Being mindful. Not all who wander are lost. Right when things getting hot in the bedroom, before you know it, you're mentally a million miles away from your partner. This happens far too much with women, right? The inability to focus on the here and now during sex is something a lot of people experience, again, especially women. To have satisfying sex, you must do two things. You need to focus on relaxing and figure out what turns you on in the moment. Remember back when before life got crazy as adults and responsibilities and stuff, back before when we first started experiencing with sexual intimacy and stuff, we didn't have that mind racing thing. We were focused on the here and now and every touch and every stimulation. That's where we need to get back to if you're a mind wanderer. Some tips to be mindful just outside of the bedroom. Any minute of any day, take a moment to focus on one sensation, whether it's sight, smell, taste, touch, or sound. We as humans are really getting away from our senses because we just have so many distractions. Oh my gosh, I got a frog in my throat. Try listening to a song, for example, and pay close attention to all of the words and the melody rather than using it as a background music, or really enjoy every bite of your meal, focusing on nothing but the flavors. Really, we want to just focus on doing one thing at a time. There we go. Why can't I focus? Overthinking, underthinking, outside distractions, being bored, focusing on others, lost in a fantasy, performance anxiety, body image issues, trauma survivors, or dissociating. Oils like passion, wild orange, ylang ylang, jasmine, or Hawaiian sandalwood can help you get in the mood. Sensual meditation music can help too, and we'll discuss more on this later. What can I do to focus better? Practice mindfulness, relaxation techniques. Again, guys, there's a lot of information here, so I'm just going through and reading these off. There's more we can discuss at a later date. Rick the right place. I don't think that's supposed to be that, but focusing on being on the right place. Respect your natural sex drive. Give yourself time to warm up. Breathe, make eye contact, practice empathy, respond to sensations and pleasure or even discomfort. Lean into it. Enjoy your way of doing it. Get more familiar with your desires, get visual, make requests, and be honest. So really focusing on that communication is key. If you're someone who has, I didn't put this in here, but on a quick side note, if you're someone who has a problem with focusing on communication, you can use oils such as lavender or spearmint and apply that over your throat chakra before getting intimate, just or even throughout the day, even when you're not being intimate, to really learn on that communication piece. Oftentimes we don't want to communicate when things aren't uncomfortable because we don't want our partner thinking maybe they're not performing well, or maybe we don't want them thinking that, hey, it just, that doesn't feel good. Essential oils such as Intune, Thinker, or frankincense on your temples a little while before intimacy can help you focus. Now the fun stuff: music, lubes and enhancements, and toys. Insufficient blood flow to the vaginal area can contribute to female orgasmic problems. This could be due to poor circulation, low hormone levels, or lack of lubrication. This is just a quick step-by-step before we start getting into the details of it. Step one, fill up your diffuser with your diffuser blend that you're currently attracted to. We will go over some diffuser blends, but there are so many diffuser blends for the bedroom. Just have that running a little bit, maybe 20 minutes before intimacy. If it's not planned, I just suggest running it in your bedroom or preferred place of intimacy throughout the day when you're home, just to make sure that those aromatic compounds are in the air already. And then you can apply them topically too in this same step one. Step two, turn on some music to help you get in the mood and stay in the mood. And we'll touch base a little bit on that. Step three, let the action begin. So diffuser blends, I'm not going to read all of these. You're welcome to screenshot, or again, I can put them in reference. Here are some commonly just really great diffuser blends to be using. Again, recommendation down below of when to get that diffuser going. Over here, the music piece. There are a lot of apps out there for meditation and stuff, but I prefer YouTube just because there's a lot of broad searches that you can do with on there, and you can really pick and choose, and it's free. And I like the YouTube too, because you can see how popular that is. You can see likes and comments and ratings. So you can really see, like, is this one I'm gonna like? If you find a YouTube, if you find a meditation on there and it's been on there for 4 years and maybe only 1,000 people have liked it, you might not want to choose that one. You can choose one that, a lot of people are attracted to. Searching tantric, kundalini, sacral chakra, sexual power, binaural stimulation. There's a lot around this. I've been using it for a while, so I usually just kind of know which one I want to lean into, but you can just simply type meditation music for intimacy or meditation music for sex, however you really want to word that, in the search until you get familiar with your preferences. They have ones that are quick, like hands-free stimulation or orgasms. There's a lot of crazy stuff on there, and it's just very beautiful because you don't have music that has lyrics to it, because if you have music with lyrics to it, maybe that's when your mind can start wandering. Maybe an old song comes on that you used in the bedroom with a previous partner or something, or it's just, it creates your mind the ability to wander having words in there. So that's why me and my husband prefer the meditation music, and it's really been a game changer, a huge game changer in the bedroom. Ditch the synthetics. So if you guys have been to an intro to essential oils class, you know why it is important to ditch the synthetics. Maybe you haven't attended to a class and you just know. If you are using synthetic toys, vibrators, so on and so forth, or if you're using synthetic lubricants, stimulations, maybe for the up here or down below, maybe ones that taste good, maybe ones that help numb the throat, whatever the case may be. Yeah, they work, but they also have a ton of synthetics in them, even if they have maybe CBD added or they're water-based. Unfortunately, the industry is so unregulated, and the FDA allows so many types of things to be able to be passed when they are disrupting our endocrine system. They are disrupting the natural lubrication process within our vaginal area. They're just changing the pH, a lot of things within the body. The cool piece with essential oils, guys, is they're all natural. Specifically, doTERRA's essential oils are literally right from the plant, unadulterated, third-party testing. So you don't have to worry. It's literally the same as if you walked out into your garden and picked some peppermint or some cinnamon or dug up a ginger root. That's the cool piece with the essential oils. And they're edible and they're actually good for you if you're using them internally, because they're going to help you. They have so many physical and emotional benefits within the body. So this is what we call a side benefits. You're using it as a lubrication or for some foreplay, and then you're going to be getting some benefits on top of that. So that's the really cool piece here. Again, make sure you take a screenshot, or we can reference these later on. You've got some ones that are going to give you some tingle up here, down below, maybe even orally, right? You have ones that can help soothe the mouth if you're looking for a little bit of a numbing situation. You have ones that prolong male orgasms, prolong female orgasms. There are oils that are naturally aphrodisiacs, giving a warming or cooling situation or sensation, so you don't have to use the ice cubes, or again, grab for those synthetics. Ones that'll help you get in the mood, even regulate your hormones. So again, one of those side benefits, right? Increasing blood flow down below. Now we've got massaging, right? Massaging is the fun part, getting all nice and greased up. I do suggest using a towel just to, the essential oils themselves, they don't leave stains, as long as they're doTERRA's essential oils, they won't leave stains on anything. However, if you are using, which I highly recommend, a carrier oil such as red chain coconut oil, that is going to get a bit greasy. Man, I can't get this out of my throat. It's really bothering me. I have not had a problem with this all day until I'm talking. So here again, with these massages, these incorporating these oils, they're going to give all sorts of different stimulations, and you can be eating them too if you like the taste of wild orange, rosemary, ginger, peppermint, cinnamons. There's so many other recipes that we can be using. These are just some suggestions. Make sure you screenshot. Aphrodisiac, the Giddy Up blend, a sweet and spicy massage blend. So that's going to be good for edible as well. Excuse me. Down below, these are some rose quartz hearts. I should have grabbed mine because I do have one here. I had given it to, well, not given it, but I let Georgia borrow it. She just absolutely loves holding on to it. Actually, my near and dear friend on this call, her and her husband had given it to me and my husband. It is a rose quartz crystal. They also have oval ones, but you want to make sure that you know a little bit about crystals when you are using them, especially pairing them with oils, because some of them you don't want to get wet. Those are commonly like selenite. This is driving me up a wall. I am so sorry. I feel like I've got some major issues going on here. Now, the cool part is when you're using a crystal, okay, let me back up. I prefer the heart shape because obviously that symbolically is resorting to love, right? I prefer the rose quartz because the rose quartz crystal is the crystal of self-love, love with partners, passion, all of the things with the heart chakra, just beauty, love, all of those things, right? Now, the fun part, when you're using this crystal, we know that when you're giving a massage and you use something like they have like massage rollers or something, it applies additional pressure and it can kind of really get in there and wave around the muscles and get out of the knots. Now, when you use something like this paired with these oils, even if you don't have a warming oil, Crystals have their own energetic frequency and they also absorb as well. So when you're massaging, they naturally warm up. You've got the friction going on top of their natural frequencies. I had used this the first time we had incorporated it in massage. I was massaging Brooks and he's like, why is that so hot? Is that still the crystal? He thought that I had gotten something else when he wasn't looking or like had it prior to the massage. Like he just wasn't fully convinced that it was the rose quartz heart. So I had showed him and it had heated up through the process. So it just adds that additional sensual piece to the massage and is going to help you and your partner connect on more of a deeper loving standpoint because of the crystal's natural healing properties and energetic frequencies. Just some really quick tips to go over before we move on. FCO, you might see abbreviated for those of you that are a part of the oil community, fractionated coconut oil. It can be used as a natural lubricant. Really quick, I'm going to throw in there using oils like lavender or tea tree during penetration. Tea tree, for instance, has antibacterial, antifungal issues properties. So not only you're going to be getting those health benefits from this lubricant. So rather than lubricants taking away your body's natural abilities to do things and harming your body with those side effects, you're getting those side benefits. You're instead of a lubricant preventing maybe a yeast infection or irritation down there, you can use oils to literally do the exact opposite and help. Did I say that right? Contribute. Did I say contribute or prevent? Sorry. If a lubricant contributes or gives you a yeast infection, yeah, sorry, you can use oils to do the complete opposite in preventing. Starting to fumble over my words, talking about a lot here. Lavender is great for natural cleansing. Of course, it's a floral oil, so that's really going to do beautiful things down there. There are so many, really any of the oils, if you turn your bottle and you can use them internally, you can use down there. Just make sure you don't apply it directly to the site without a coconut oil, and you don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. Neroli and rose behind your ears, on your neck, or over your heart softens your emotional barriers while encouraging a deeper emotional connection. Again, never apply oils directly to sensitive areas without diluting. If you do start developing some sensitivity, just add more coconut oil. The sensation is going to go away. Please, dear God, do not use water. It just makes it worse. Taking lifelong vitality every day helps with gives you optimal wellness and helps for peak performance. Lastly, have fun experimenting with your oils in the bedroom. Now, de-stressing, additional things you can do to distress throughout the day or right before. While taking a bath, make sure you're de-stressing naturally. Use Epsom salts, natural bubble bath, crystals in your bath water. I love adding crystals to my bath water. Add some oils or fractionated coconut oil in your bath water to help with emotions and adding moisture to your skin. You can add dry flowers. You can make your own bath bombs with essential oils, your own scrubs with essential oils. Add a relaxing diffuser blend running while you soak. 1 to 2 drops of an essential oil on a washcloth and apply over your face. I know like one like copaiba or frankincense would be really good. You're not going to have like a cooling or warming sensation, but it's also really great for skin health. And of course, doTERRA has an entire spa line. Our spa line is in the Aerie and Bellagio spas and Vegas, as well as many other places. They're just highly credible spa products. And now let your toys heal you. Let me double check on time. I am going to keep spitting this out because this is going to be a lot of information. Any of you that know Gwyneth Paltrow, she does have it was on Netflix. It's called the Goop Factory, I believe. That was introduced by Elizabeth Crawford. I believe she is still on the call. That is really, really life-changing as well, if you guys want to tune into that. But she did approve these methods too, so I wanted to add that in there. Now, again, at having toys that are synthetic, it's almost like and I've been there, done that. So I don't mean this in like a bad way, like don't feel guilty, but it's almost like a degrading way for us as humans, not just sex toys, but really anything that we're using, putting into or onto our bodies that just isn't natural, that's not intended for us, because it's not intended for us. Like humans have made those things, right? So now we can use things that actually heal you. So let's talk about that. Most women have had sorts of experiences that have kept us away from fully engaging with and enjoying sex to the kind of transcendent levels that are possible for every woman. Some examples of negative experiences are shame and or guilt regarding our sexuality and sexual experiences, pain or discomfort during sex or unsatisfying sexual experiences, toxic intimate relationships, sexual abuse, crossing of unclear, unstated sexual boundaries, invasive medical procedures, feeling sexually inadequate, having sex simply to please our partners, premature penetration or having sex before we're ready, difficult childbirth, miscarriage, or abortion. Oftentimes we don't even realize that we have what we call is armoring. So let's get into that. But many of us commonly we're really all together in this. We have had, when we've had experience such as these, our vaginas automatically armor themselves, creating areas of pain or numbness. This armoring process is the vagina's way of protecting itself. And while it does offer some sort of protection, it also shuts down the vagina from feeling anything at all, including pleasure. So we become numb and disconnected and shut ourselves off from our sexuality and sensuality, and thus from being fully alive. We as women we're designed to be fully alive, guys. We're designed to have all of these emotions for a reason, and we're designed to be feeling those high frequency emotions, but unfortunately we're not, and we're down here. Fortunately, we have tools and practices to reverse this armoring process. Here we are referencing the yoni wand and yoni egg, not the Tony egg. Rose, I've edited this like so many times, but clearly I still have some stuff in here. Rose quartz specifically is the stone of self-love and acceptance. Aside from supporting a woman's sensual confidence, it also provides health benefits such as strengthening the circulatory system, which is going to do a lot down below, purifying our bodily fluids, and helping release emotions and heartache. I'm not going to get in really specifically on how to use these. I'm just going to talk about the benefits. That's a whole nother thing there, but basically what we do is use these to help heal those areas of pain and discomfort so we can start feeling the way that we should during intimacy. De-armoring benefits. Through the use of the yoni wand, countless women report experience renewed connection to their sensuality and femininity, and I will second and triple and quadruple that. It is a very amazing experience, something that any toy or lubricant or any hormone pill or anything else that I've ever tried my entire life, that we all have probably tried, has never even come close to giving me the benefits of de-armoring with these yoni tools. De-armoring is recommended for you if you would like to get out of your head and back into your body during sex, restore vaginal sensation, and greatly increase your capacity for pleasure, eliminate pain during sex, increase your likelihood of experiencing G-spot and cervical orgasms, increase your libido, release sensual shame, guilt, anxiety, and trauma. And it doesn't even have to be trauma revolving around sex, guys. If you have experienced any type of trauma, a loved one passing, a car accident, that's emotions, and our emotions is directly affected with our endocrine system, which obviously our endocrine system is all of our hormones and all of these things. If you want to reconnect to your body, your sexuality, and your sensuality, increase connection with your partner. Or if you have experience of any of the following: hard tissue or small grain-like lumps along the walls of your vagina, numbness or dryness in the vagina, contracted hard vaginal muscles, hard and overly sensitive cervix, pain during sex, or difficulty orgasming. On a quick side note, I know me including, before learning all of these things, we use toys, we use lubricants, we use pills, we use all of these things to try to help in the bedroom, but what we're doing is the exact same thing that all modern medicine is revolved around, and it is masking and targeting the symptoms rather than really targeting the root cause. So my intention today, I should have said this in the beginning, but my intention today is revolving around the root causes of why we are not loving ourselves from within, and why that's reflected outward in our relationships, within the bedroom, within our reproductive system, all of these things. Now, the yoni egg, look at that picture. How beautiful is that? The word yoni means sacred space. That is the a goddess names within Hinduism. The practices of strengthening the pelvic floor with jade or yoni eggs was started by the queens of ancient China. So just like you get those, like the Ben Wa balls, this is the same thing, but again, you get the depending on what type of crystal you use for the yoni egg, you're getting those benefits from the crystals, guys. Whether you think it's like hooky dooky witch stuff or not, crystals, they come from the earth, they hold energetic vibrancies, and they absolutely do provide benefits within the body. And when they are going inward, those benefits are even 10 times more powerful. So not only do you have those energetic frequencies that are healing, but a yoni egg causes your body to do involuntary Kegel, ultimately strengthening the pelvic floor. A stronger pelvic floor is associated with more intense orgasm, stronger internal grip during penetrative sex, reduced symptoms of incontinence, which we all pretty much experience after having kids, or maybe before or after, or whichever, reducing the risk of or treating uterine prolapse, reducing the risk of leakage and promoting healing after vaginal childbirth. Some symptoms that can accompany pelvic floor tension is constipation or bowel strain, pain within the pelvic region, pain during vaginal penetration, muscle spasms in the pelvic floor, lower back and abdominal pain. I feel like many women have all of the things that we've been talking about today, but a lot of these common things as well. Now we are wrapping up here. Oh my God, I did so good on time. And then what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen, and then I will jump in with all of you and we can chit chat, and I will look at the chats and we'll go from there. So additional tips to live a more fulfilled life. Over here, we've got some oils showing, just kind of summing up ones that are great for the endocrine system, great for emotions and connecting with each other. Lang Lang is the oil of the inner child. I have so much deep love for Lang Lang. That just popped right out at me. So intuitively, I knew I had to share it with you guys. Okay. So I think we've got some chats going on here. So let me go through this super quick. These are additional, guys. Like I said, this presentation was so hard to add in. I have so much more to say about the moon cycles, about crystals, about incorporating essential oils, all of the things. But I really had to sum up. So these are really some quick tidbits. What I love, write down 5 to 10 things that you love about yourself or your partner, and read every single day before Valentine's Day. Don't just stop there, keep doing it, because we really want to prep for Valentine's Day. We need to be remembering why we love ourselves and why we love our partners. Oftentimes when we get caught up in this vicious cycle of just stress and on the go, right? That masculine, that masculine energy, we're forgetting why we love our partners, why we're together. We just become so encompassed by the flaws, because when we're in a low vibration state, those low vibrations just keep piling on, right? And when we say low vibration, guys, everything is made up of energy. This is energy. Everything that we do is energy. Every living thing possesses energy, and every natural thing within the earth possesses energy, like trees, wood, stone, all of these things. It's all, guys, if you honor Albert Einstein and his theories, he didn't always get much into the spiritual realm, but it's physics. It's science has been studied forever. It's just unfortunate these spiritual modalities are not as popular as it should be, because the human body 110% has the ability to heal itself. We are just incapable oftentimes of doing that because we are so, um, we're just buried in modern things, too many modern things, and we're just so disconnected with our own bodies and with our own environment and Mother Earth. So anyway, we do have Reiki. I forgot to let you guys know this, but I've recently become a Reiki master teacher. I am currently in the process of healing myself and my family before I start opening it up to sessions within the community and before I start teaching others, but I absolutely can teach Reiki 1, 2, and master levels. This is a healing technique based on the principle that the therapist can channel energy. So I'd be the therapist, channel energy to the patient by means of touch to activate the natural healing process of the patient's body and restore physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. I do not own Reiki. No practitioner owns Reiki. It is a universal energy that any of us can tap into. We can all learn Reiki. Oftentimes, like if you were to do this and rub your hands together very vigorously and then bring them apart very lightly and slowly. And if you can kind of start doing this, you can start feeling something going on in the middle between your hands. The difference with Reiki, so we can all channel energy to other people, but the difference is if you haven't had attunements to the universal energy, you are passing on your energy to someone else, therefore depleting your own. When you have been attuned to Reiki energy, it's a constant energy flow. You are actually healing yourself while you are also providing that healing to somebody else because it's channeling through you to them. So it's a very beautiful thing when you're a Reiki practitioner. It's really just this revolving door of constant healing. And it's a very, very beautiful process. The Wim Hof method. I could talk so much about this. This is the new thing with my husband and I. We actually first learned about Wim Hof on Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Factory show, but we learned that about 2 years ago or so now, maybe less, either way. And we didn't do much with it. We thought it was just really cool, but honestly, I hate the freaking cold, guys. I hate anything cold besides ice cream or maybe a cold beer. I hate anything cold. My circulation's always been very poor. My feet have always been very cold. I'm the type of person that if I don't live in a home that has a wood stove, a big wood stove, I'm freaking cold all of the time, right? Now, let me talk about the Wim Hof method. The power of the Wim Hof method is the combination of 3 pillars: a committed, consistent practice, including the breathing technique and cold exposure that can help you unlock a host of benefits, including increased energy, better sleep, reduced stress levels, heightened focus and determination, increased willpower, a stronger immune system. Wim Hof is an older man. He's got to be mid-60s. I don't know his exact age. I haven't looked into that. My husband started this. It's a combination of breathing techniques and cold exposure. And since my circulation, like I'm down here in the basement, like this is a finished basement, but it's a cold floor and I'm barefoot right now, I'm totally fine. Other times I'd be freezing by now. It retrains your body, increases circulation and everything. This man has won so many, a ridiculous amount of Guinness World Records. He's been studied by universities everywhere. He's been proven. He's been working with COVID patients almost dying and getting them completely out of COVID. He has been injected with all forms of viruses and sicknesses, and through his breathing techniques and cold exposure, he has he's been hooked up to monitors and all sorts of things, and he proves that the body has the ability to fight off anything that is injected to it, whether it's staph infection, MRSA, anything, that we have the ability to do that. So it's an amazing thing. It started with my husband getting the book. I bought it for him a few weeks ago, and now it's to the point where I take a freezing cold shower at the end of my hot shower every single day. Yesterday, I hit 3 minutes and 30 seconds. We also started the breathing techniques, which we've been doing. I skipped out on yesterday, but it's a series of rapid breathing movements, and then you hold your breath for up to a minute and a half, and then you release. It's just really amazing. And what it does is, if you guys have heard of a runner's high, if you think you felt the runner's high, then you're going to love this, because you are legitimately, by doing these breathing techniques in the cold showers, you get on cloud nine. The thing that sold me the night that I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. Wim Hof, his wife had actually suffered from years and years of major mental illness, and she ended up committing suicide. And he was left, I think, with 5 kids, and he was determined. She had been in and out of doctors, on and off medications, just this vicious cycle. And he was determined to find another way. And he tells his story, and it's just so frickin', I almost said it, so frickin' empowering, guys. But anyway, our bodies enter the state of euphoria. Your body's just nothing. You're just floating. But anyway, the night that sold me, it was back about 2 weeks ago now. A personal issue arose. Someone had irritated us that's just been just whatever. A situation had really irritated us, and I knew my husband saw red. I mean, he got so angry. I wasn't like scared for me and my girls by any means, but I was scared he was about to drive to this person's house or get on the phone. And this is someone that he's kind of held his voice with to try to keep peace over the years. And he'd had enough. A situation had arose, and I'm just like, oh, shit's about to go down. And he started like hyperventilating. He was having a really bad anxiety attack, and he immediately jumped into the shower right on the freezing cold setting. And I'm just hanging out in the living room with the girls, and all of a sudden I hear him call my name, and I go into the shower, and I just thought he needed something, like he forgot shampoo or just who knows. And because he was very in a relaxed state when he called me, he was just like, "Hey, babe." I'm like, what the hell? If anyone knows my husband, when he gets heated, like, it's pretty much over from there. It's just very hard. I mean, really hard for anyone to come down from that. But it was within minutes. He was just, "Hey, babe." So I go in there, and he goes, "Feel the water." And I'm about to get TMI right now, but I felt the water freaking ice cold. And he goes, "Is this cold?" And I'm like, "Brooks, it's freezing." The whole front of his body is just beet red, like the worst sunburn you can imagine. I mean, lobster red. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm freaking great." And I look, and his package was like non-existent. So I knew he'd been standing in that shower for a while. Like, he was shriveled up. And he gets out. I still couldn't believe it, right? I leave him alone. He gets out, and he goes, "I'm good." I feel like he was in such a state of euphoria within minutes of having a panic attack, a raging panic attack, and being so angry. To He explained as though this situation, this person, it's like he didn't even know this person. That person never irritated him before. There was no past aggression or stress towards this person. And that moment, the rest of the night, he was happier as pig and poo. He was just on a state of happiness. He was on his hands and knees playing with the girls. He was loving me. It was touching me. He's rubbing my back while I'm cooking or making a drink. He was just so happy. And that sold me. And I'm sorry, I just totally went off right now. But this is something that every human needs to look into. And if you think about it, humans years and years ago, before we had homes, like cavemen, what did they have? Maybe some frickin' deer, buffalo hide, right? And all they had was that. And men would go hunting, even women, they would go hunting for hours and hours and hours in 3 feet of deep of snow, and they didn't die. It's because our bodies have been conditioned around comfort. And that's what this whole Wim Hof method is about. There's a lot to it. Do not just jump in the shower tonight and start trying. You need to read on it. He's got a ton of videos on YouTube. This is stuff that I can provide and resources that I can email to you guys, or whatever the case may be. I'm about to stop sharing and jump in chats with you guys. And then lastly, Holistic healthcare. If you're sick of running to the doctors and pharmacies all the time, not knowing what's in the ingredients, not knowing the side effects, my God, you take an antibiotic, all of a sudden you got yeast infections and you freaking have diarrhea. Take charge of your health with natural remedies and solutions that leave a long lasting impression on your life for you and future generations. We do not have to suffer anymore, guys. I swear and oath that on my father's life when I say that. And I am so serious and so passionate about this. Like, for those of you that have not been a part of the essential oil, and just not even essential oil, just holistic natural remedies, you need to become a part of this for you, your children, your grandchildren, even if you don't have children, for generations to come. For you, my God, please, guys, really, you have to start looking into this. I didn't get into all of the doTERRA supplementation today. We have supplementation to help balance hormones, so you don't have to be taking that birth control anymore. I understand that maybe if from a reproductive standpoint, if you're just not interested in having, children anymore, or whichever that case may be. There's different ways around that we're not going to discuss, but balancing hormones, the vitamin D deficiency to help get our vitamin D up, to help with the bone health, and so on and so forth. doTERRA has a whole line of supplements, of course, the essential oils that help with the endocrine system and hormone imbalancing. So I know that that's a topic that does revolve around today's subject that I didn't get into, so I apologize about that. But I really, we offer classes on hormones and supplementation and women's health and emotional health. So that's why I really wanted to focus on the other stuff today. So with that being said, let me jump off here and get back to all of you. Oh my God, there's nothing in the chat. Is it because you guys knew that I couldn't read it, or do you not have any questions? So if you guys do have questions, feel free to unmute yourself. As I mentioned before, I am working on a resource thing. I have not gotten that all together as of yet, but I can absolutely provide something to you guys that will give you direct links to websites that I use for additional information, YouTube videos. I can throw in some suggestions of, tantric music and Kundalini and stuff like that. Wim Hof stuff, I can provide resources on where to find his books, where to find his videos, so on and so forth. Questions? Janet unmuted herself.
What about women with hysterectomies? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
when you talked about women having their periods and all of that, I haven't in years.
Right, and you can still, and in that case, so if you're not menstruating anymore, you can still, I wish I had my books down here. I don't think I do. You can still follow the moon cycle to help with your emotions and everything through that. And you're gonna notice it's a huge, actually, I'm gonna stop recording really quick just because I don't want the video to be super long.